Welcome to the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He owns more designer cats than rolls of duct tape. Beef Loaf. A cigarette-smoking, cargo short-wearing, new father of the millennia, My Sock Summer. And your host. He'll give you the shirt off his back, or at least sell it to you, Chorizy E.
Thank you, Cornsey, and welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beef Loaf says allegedly, or that he wrote a blog about that, you drink. If My Sock Summer can't pronounce a name or mentions his time on the West Coast, you drink. If I swear or say, here's the thing, you drink. Beef Loaf, how you doing, my brother?
I'm swell, man. I took a day off from work today, so I got some stuff done around the house, and I took a nap. I feel energized. I actually, you guys know I got like a sty that I've had for a while. So I bought one of these masks that you heat up and then you wear over your face like this. So I started doing the treatments today. It was sitting on the kitchen, the coffee table in the living room. And Bonita's thinking, he comes upstairs and she's like, "What's that?" And so I tell her what it is. She goes, "It looks like a very tiny bra." And I was thinking, I wonder if I try to get it on my big breast assist and see what happens. It really does. I got to wear it in a picture for you guys so you can get the visual of how it is. I'll put something out there on Twitter. No, I'm doing good. And I don't usually fire shots at other people's content. Okay, this is not the 108 style generally.
Not publicly, anyway.
At least not publicly. Yeah, exactly. At least not publicly. But our friends at Barstool Chicago, Chief, Eddie, Carl, Dave, our boys, they also had something called Rico in on this one. They did Rico Bosco. They did a Christmas songs draft. And I got to tell you guys, it was a fucking abomination. And I seriously realized I would not enjoy Christmas if I were limited to the songs they selected because the draft was that fucking bad. We can legit pick from the leftovers and win the draft easily. I was looking at this on Twitter, and I'm looking through the list, and I'm like, where the fuck is Feliz Navidad? Christmas can't happen unless I hear that blind motherfucker, Jose Feliciano, singing some Feliz Navidad.
Beef, I got to tell you.
He's blind? I didn't know he was blind.
Yeah, he's blind. Come on.
Sorry.
Beef, I got to tell you, man.
It wasn't a mainstay in my house.
We know about your Christmas.
Shut the fuck up. Go.
Yeah, yours sucks too.
I don't have banter this week because I was going to talk about how shitty this draft was too. Like, I looked at this and I was like, it's surprising to me, but because some things you think all your life, but I didn't realize that Elvis and John Lennon didn't exist. I wasn't aware until I saw that Andy Williams is ahead of them on a Christmas draft, so they must have just never existed. That's the only way I can explain this to myself.
Man,
it's hard to look at that list, though. There's 5 people picking 5 songs, and these songs are not on the list from what I could see. Feliz Navidad, Christmas in Hollis, Santa Baby, Christmas Rapping by the Waitresses, Little Drummer Boy by Bowie and Bing Crosby.
Yes, so that is like one of the best Christmas songs of all time, and probably the most cocaine-fueled video I've ever seen.
I mean, Last Christmas by Wham is not on there either.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's definitely a good one.
I mean, there's just so many songs missing from this. You can take 5 songs that not only weren't on this list, but were actual originals by that artist, and you could probably still beat everyone in this draft with those confinements.
They didn't even pick the best Bruce Springsteen Christmas song because they picked "Santa Claus is Coming to Town." It is easily "Merry Christmas, Baby" by Bruce Springsteen.
Yes,
that's really good. You guys brought up Hollis. Now, however, I will say this: Chief easily picked a 1 of 1. "Christmas" by Darlene Love is probably one of the best Christmas songs ever. Like, in this like 50s like kind of thing, like Wall of Sound, like that's a great tune.
It's in Goodfellas too, right?
Yes.
I mean, that even takes it up another level.
So that's good. And now I don't know what you have to do to be. Carl picked like probably one of the worst drafts I've seen him. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays by NSYNC is his number one pick. Like, what is Carl doing? Like, he talks a lot about underage girls and shit, and now he's picking boy band shit. So I don't know what Carl, like, how did Carl grow up? That's what I want to know. You guys got any inside information on St. Rita that I don't know? Or
well, he went to Brother Rice.
He's a Rice.
He's
guy.
a Brother Rice.
My bad. It's not St. Rita. So don't disparage our St. Rita listeners.
That's what I just said. I apologize. I apologize.
Let's screw that up, right?
So you know what I noticed in this draft is Dave took an updated version of Baby It's Cold Outside. And I can only imagine it's because Dave is so terrified of getting canceled that he didn't want to take the old Dean Martin version.
Dean Martin.
That's a little creepy.
All rapey.
It's a little creepy.
Carl did take the rapey song, so now you got NSYNC, rapey song, and Kelly Clarkson. So I don't know. There's a lot of footprints. There's a lot of fingerprints all over this. I don't like it. It's the murder weapon is covered in Carl's prints. I don't know if you guys knew this, but apparently God wrote Silent Night. I did not know this. God wrote it. So it came down from the heavens. It was like the Ten Commandments. It was only in song form. So God wrote that. Oh God. Holy shit. That's awful. And then old Rico. Rico picked a song that you guys are giving me a hard time about. And I said it is the only Italian song, a Christmas song that I know and have recently heard. Dominic the donkey, the Italian Christmas donkey. And I'm going to sing some words for you because you guys have probably never heard it. It's, hey, chickadee ching, hee haw, it's Dominic the donkey. Chickadee ching, hee haw, the Italian Christmas donkey. That is the whole fucking song. I'm not even lying. That's
you know what? I didn't know you spoke Italian. That was beautiful.
Now you know.
Let me just say something. I looked up. I just Googled real quick Italian Christmas songs. Guess how many there are? A fucking
0.
billion.
No, 0. I listen. I'm not a numbers guy, as you know, Treasy, but I know there's only one Italian Christmas song, and it's Dominic the donkey.
I would guess. I would venture.
Probably not even written by.
Guess
Italian,
that.
Honestly,
Italian Christmas Carol is an Italian Christmas song.
No. See, you'd be wrong. That's not. I heard from somebody that no, that's not. That is not. You don't know that.
All I know is my saxophone was being bounced on someone's knee when he was a little kid, being taught that song is the only fucking Italian Christmas song he'd been lied to his entire life. I feel like his whole world is coming before him right now that he realizes what a fucked up Christmas childhood that he only had one song that he had to listen to on repeat because he's Italian.
I never even knew that there was a song called I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. That was never played in my house. And my mom had the most amount of tapes and CDs of Christmas music. And we used to listen to all sorts of stuff. Not one time did I ever hear the Hippopotamus for Christmas song. And that's not on the list either.
That's a good track. Beef, you know what? I wrote a blog about that.
Yes.
I actually wrote last year a bunch of songs that I wish other artists had done, like that have covered, like, because everyone covers Christmas songs, right?
Yeah.
And My Suck Summer, I'm sure you didn't read it, so I'm going to ask you if you like this idea, or I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas to be done by System of a Down.
That'd be good. That would be really good.
It's a weird song. They're like,
hippopotamus. Yeah, that would be good.
I'm surprised they didn't even stick in any comedy songs like Santa Claus and His Old Lady by Cheech and Chong. Like, how do you not like weave that in there? Or Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer by Elmo and Patsy. Come on.
Good.
Weird Al has a Christmas song, and it is a tremendous Christmas song.
There's some song my dad has. It's some blues Christmas song. And it's
Backdoor Santa.
It's not Backdoor Santa, but it's very similar. It's very similar. It's highly sexual. I don't know.
Is it the one about being in jail for Christmas?
No, I don't.
Because
So,
that one.
I think
That
it
one's really
implies
funny.
that Santa Claus is fucking your old lady. I feel like that's what
Okay.
it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's probably BB King singing it. If I had to guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they it's very similar. They all sing each other's songs, so that's how blues works usually. But yeah, that's not on the list either. So, yeah, man.
Anyway, that was fucking brutal. Our guys from Barstool, Chicago, they normally do a great job of content, funny stuff. That was a bad draft. I must
You know what
say.
though?
Bad draft.
You know what though? I'm gonna say they did a good job of content because we're talking about it.
We're talking about it exactly. That's how bad it was. We had to talk about it. Exactly.
love
Even
it.
bad, like it was something that we've learned with the draft. Even a bad draft, like even if we don't like how it all went or whatever, which doesn't normally happen, it gets talked about to nobody's to the no end. You can be like, "This is flawless. This is a flawless number one pick," and somebody's like, "Fuck you. That is a horrible pick. I wouldn't even have picked that."
The
See our
thing
soda pop draft.
the thing that people talk to me the most about when they meet me is the magic shell in the condiments draft. And it's probably, and even though I like the pick, probably one of my worst picks in any of the drafts. And
That's right.
and that's what people want to talk about. Hey,
It's not bad.
that's why the next time I see Dave, I'm going to give him a stack of Christmas CDs and say, first I'm going to tell him what CDs are, and then I'm going to have him listen to them.
He'd be like, "My dad used to have these when they drove me around in the Buick."
I feel attacked on that one because you know I drive a Buick.
I was totally not intentional, but my mind, it works in mysterious ways.
My Sock Summer, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and honestly, I had something to come in with Banter, because I met up with a guy today. I'll talk about that another day, but we socially distanced and stayed away from each other. But I got to talk to somebody and had some human interaction today with an adult, and that was awesome.
Wow.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I got
Cross
Dutch
country
ruddered.
skiing, baby.
But no, yeah, he was the lucky Pierre. No, but like
God bless.
I just given the girls a bath and was bringing them upstairs, and my phone is buzzing in my pocket, and it's a DM, and I can tell who it's from, and it's from Eddie Barstool, shockingly, and I'm like, what? Why is Eddie hitting me up on a Friday?
He said, "Who wrote Silent Night?"
He's like, "Hey, guess what?" No, so Eddie's sending me a message, and he's just like, "Hey, what's the pick over there at Punky's?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, you got to go with the eggplant parm." And like that's my number one thing. Like if I'm getting something and I want to recommend something to somebody, if they like eggplant parm, that is probably one of my favorite that I get. My Italian neighbor, Dominic the donkey, he makes great eggplant parm. But this over there is unbelievable, and it's like 2 meals easy. And I'm also looking out for Eddie because I know he likes to eat too. So like he's like, "Dude, you got 2 meals here. Like you don't even have to move the next day. You'll be carved out, and you can just chill and just reheat." And then he's like, "So what's good over at Freddy's?" And I was like, "Oh, you don't even want to go to Freddy's. Like, just don't even worry about that. Like, go to Punky's. Like, Punky's is way better." I go, "Freddy's is open later. So, like, if you're drunk and that's the only place open, then, yeah, go hit it. But, like, yeah, don't worry about that." And then he's like, "What about Kathy D?" So he's like, I'm sorry. I'm asking you all these questions. I'm like, "Oh, no, don't worry about it." So anyway, he's got a buddy, whatever. They're going to come eat their way through Bridgeport. But so we're talking. And I would be remiss if I didn't say to him, "Hey, me and Tony Namimbo are going to get a show with you with the Stern questions. We're going to pepper you with questions, and we're going to learn all about the Stern show." And he says verbatim, and I'm not even shitting you, he says, "You let me know, and we'll do it." This man does a show with Dave fucking Portnoy, who is like a billionaire, and he's got all these minions. He's got all these. He's got 1.5 billion things going on, and I like that he's even giving me the time of day that he's going to do this. So I said to him, "We're going to do this. We're going to double team you," because I heard earlier that he wanted, like, he's got some other things. He said some other shit that was pretty interesting. But we're going to talk you, blah, blah, blah. He's like, "You let me know, we'll do it." And then he says, unprovoked, guys. And I haven't told you guys this. He goes, "I've been able to check out some of 3 things and enjoy them as well. always keep up the good work. Tough to find original content like this nowadays. Whoa.
Wow,
All
that's
right.
a big compliment for us.
Listen,
huh?
this
God
man is a fucking producer. Like he is content. This man is content. He knows what he's doing. He's the one that like brings in three of those egos there at Barstool Chicago and keeps it all in line, keeps it moving, and does everything. Okay, so for him to tell us or tell me, and then me telling you that we made this great show that's original and great content. I mean, what the fuck, man? And the fact he's listened to more than 2, that's awesome because he said a few, because that's 3. So he's listened to Dave and Tony Mimbo and then one other. I don't know who it is, but he's listened to at least 3. So
Teresi, we got to cut the front end of this show where I fucking shit all over that stupid Christmas song draft, don't we?
No, you didn't shit on him.
I think he'd love it, and I think God would appreciate that we talked about his song. But so here we go, Beef. So I mean, like the 108, we're getting the tendrils out there and expanding, right? Like, so I'm doing this thing with Josh now, the Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
I saw Summers out there doing the thing. Going to be doing the thing with Tony the Mimbo.
Yep.
Beef.
And Eddie.
What's your new podcast, man? You got a new podcast coming out? You got to tell us about?
Dude, I don't have any interest. I don't know anything about fucking anything. What am I
You
going
have shitloads of interest. You could do like a financial show with Wally Money.
We'll do like the from SNL, the Jazz Riffs show. That's me and Wally. Right? Smoke cigarettes with each other.
You could do like a copy of The Ladies' Man, and Wally could try to fuck you every episode.
I have Cavassier. I have some Cavassier down here. I should get it out right now. No, I know. Teresi, we talked about different ways to do gambling shows or whatever, or some of that stuff. And we just don't have a good like angle on any of that shit. No, I'm gonna let you guys do all the work. I've been pulling this sled with a lot of blogs over the last 2 years. I'll let you motherfuckers start churning out some content. I'll sit back and put my fucking feet up. How's that sound, my suck summer?
So, hey, I got a live update from Eddie.
Okay.
And
you like Punkies?
His buddy liked, guess what he got?
Panzerotti.
No, but I recommended a Panzerotti.
Okay.
He got something I didn't. Well, I recommended that too, but I did not get. He did not get something. I did not recommend what he got, but it's easily one of the best food items on there if you're getting a sandwich or a dinner. You guys, pot roast.
Pot roast?
The pot roast sandwich. Pot roast sandwich.
Dude,
that's my go-to.
It's so fucking good. I just texted him, or I just sent him a message back and said, I'm embarrassed I didn't recommend that, because that should have been the second thing after the
you're a big fan of
chicken parm, because I love that shit. Like, I get that all the time. So,
I had one like last week.
Oh, so good, right?
Yes.
What about the Panzerotti? Did you have a Panzerotti recently?
I stuffed a pot roast sandwich into Panzer. No, I haven't had a Panzerotti in a while because, like, like, I got to have a gap between pizza and Panzerotti, and
between your thighs. Yeah.
And kind of like right now, because the way that things are, like, I eat probably more pizza than I ever have, which is a huge statement.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Beef knows. I mean, since my touring days, because I remember, Beef, I told you about this when we were doing the one pig face tour that I was on for the entire bit. Me and this one DJ that was on the tour, we ate pizza in every city. And my God, like, like you hear like the Chicago, New York debate, like, just be happy you have access to either, because the rest of the country is a fucking disaster when it comes to pizza. Like, I remember I think we were in Portland, and we're like outside Portland. And this is early 2000s, right? So Portland is a different place now. And I just remember we each got a slice, and it was like worse than that cafeteria pizza you get. It was like that real, like, nasty, like, generic cracker crust,
Oh,
and then it was like the cheese on top was yellow, right? And you're just like, what the fuck is this atrocity that you're trying to feed me? And I ate it because I needed to to just complete the whole country.
Yeah,
And
you got to
it
check
was-
the box on it. You got to check the box on the area.
It was
This is our
horrible.
premium American
horrible.
mozzarella blend.
I mean, God, like, but you know what's funny?
You know-
Portland was the Barstool Christmas draft of pizza because we're fucking still talking about. I'm talking about it 20 years later.
I'll tell you what, Teresa. I guess you don't want to eat pizza anywhere where they don't recognize Dominic the Christmas Donkey as the only Italian Christmas song. If they don't recognize that, then you can't eat the
You know
pizza.
what?
That's what
I
know.
think maybe it's the only places where they do recognize that as the only Italian song.
I fucking hate you guys.
Love you too. Fellas, I got a question for you.
Ooh.
What are you guys drinking?
I would love to start.
Go for it.
I've got the Fat Pug from
Oh,
Maplewood.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Fucking delicious. I'm on my second one of the evening. I mean, Maplewood does such a good job with kind of mostly everything that they do.
Dude.
Son of Juice is one of my favorites. Like they make some great beers over there.
Did you see what our buddy Justin Maynard put up? Former GM of 17 local breweries.
No, I did not see.
He said he's going to win his 2020 IPA of the Year award. It's Juice Pants from Maplewood.
Oh,
So,
very
and
nice.
I just saw it at the grocery store, and I almost bought it. And when I read that when I got home, I was like, "Fuck! I should have got that," because I mean that man knows beer.
He
So
does. Absolutely.
you can't. He's worked at a lot of places and he's drank a lot of beer, so he knows everything. So
And he's bought us a lot of
got it.
beer over the years.
Fuck
He's
yes,
bought
he
us
has.
tons of beers over the
That
years.
is true.
Yep.
That is true. I love that guy, man.
Me too.
I am drinking my Old Smoky Tennessee salty caramel whiskey. I was going to drink a Bourbon County, and I fucked up. Well, I didn't fuck up. I sent a message to Chorizo and was asking if he was going to do it, and he never responded, so I never had time to chill it. But in
I
retrospect,
legitimately did respond to that message.
Yeah,
not
kind of
when
right
I
after.
sent it. Did
Yeah.
you?
Like
Yeah.
basically right away.
Oh, I didn't get it. And maybe mine didn't come to you like on a pro. Dude, I sent it.
He was Teresa,
I
he's too
apologize.
busy recommending 17 different entrees at Pumpkin.
No, this
Eddie
was way
Barstool.
before that. Man, I did not get your response, my man. I apologize. I do not mean to be throwing slander at you while you
You know what?
said that.
To be honest, I'm looking at it now. It was an hour and 40 minutes later.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
All right then. All right.
But to me,
Oh, shit.
that's
All
right
there.
away.
Okay.
I stand corrected. I thought it was. I just saw it in the chat because I wasn't following it, and it was right after the other one. So I assumed it was.
It
right
is.
away.
It is
Apparently
like
not.
the next. It is like the
It's
next
the
thing.
next one.
It just took me a while.
2
to do
hours
that.
later. Okay. I thought I'd make sure. I don't. No, because I
it
would have
took
shown
me-
one, but
It took me one Wally Money love making session to get that to you. I apologize.
Yeah.
man, shit. So what are you drinking, Chorizo?
I am drinking the Bourbon County because we
Which
had
one?
agreed.
Which one?
We had agreed on this days ago.
I did, but you know what? I got to go to the gym tomorrow. I don't want to be all fucked up that way.
Oh my God! See now the real.
I
See,
would've done
yeah,
it.
that's the real.
real
You would've-
stories coming
I
out.
would have let
And
you
so-
peer pressure me into it.
And so, when I went and got my my allocations of Bourbon County from Benny's,
Yep.
I got all these. So there's the single barrel ones that they did this year, and if you look at the number or the letters on the back, you could tell which barrel it was in, like what kind of whiskey. And so this is one of the Heaven Hill ones.
Yeah.
I had all of those, but my Sock Summer is such an awesome dude that I said, hey, I will bring you one of these Heaven Hills. Heaven Hills.
Heaven and hell. Yes.
I'm thinking Sabbath.
Lucy.
But I'll bring you one of these if you give me one of these, if you have a Buffalo Trace or a Wild Turkey. And so I brought him one bottle of Heaven Hill, and he hooked me up with both a Buffalo Trace and a Wild
Yeah.
Turkey.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
very nice. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I am drinking one of the Heaven Hills right now, and
Listen.
god damn, it's delicious.
Is it? Like
Ooh.
now, this is something that's like unique only to Chicagoland area. Like they didn't release this to the country. The country's getting the blend. Only Chicago is getting the single barrels version of this. So like if you look on the back, there's a little tag. And I actually talked to our guy over at Goose Island, TJ, and I said, listen, dude, I love this. And I love that you did this because it's something fun, it's different, and it makes the regular more like more sought after now because you're like, oh, I want it out of this barrel or versus this barrel. So that's cool. And then I also said, I love the fact that you can walk into a grocery store and still get Bourbon County a week and a half after it's been released versus how it used to be where you had to line up and like you had to get your poor grandma up out after, Thanksgiving dinner and be like, Grandma, we got to go to Benny's and stand in line so I can get a prop. Like this is like the best. Like you could just go in and still get it. And they were taking some shit on some of the drinking boards that I'm on Facebook. Some guy's like, oh, it's going to be a shelf warmer. And some guy was like, what the fuck does that matter? Like, why would you not want to go get that in 3 months or 2 months? Like, go get it. Like, it's nice. It's not going to go bad, So, like, these guys, listen, I used to be a big beer guy. I'm not, like, real big. Now I'm more about what can I get at the most amount of places, right? Like, I want to be able to just go get something. 18th Street Brewery released their really nice beer today. Totally blanked on it. Totally forgot. So I didn't get they have like a Mexican chocolate imperial stout. I did not get it today.
Oh, wow.
So if anybody has an extra of that, let me know. I will gladly pay you for your time and that. But yeah, Goose Island doing the right shit, man. I like it. I like what they did. I think it's great. And I'm glad that you were saying that Heaven Hill is awesome.
Oh, it's
get down on that.
You know what the thing is too? Because of the way that it's a yearly release, just like everyone kind of does these things. But I haven't had this in a long time. Like it's probably been a few months at least that I've had a Bourbon County Stout, and oh man, it's you open it up and it's just
shit.
It just hits you. I love it. I'm like, and there's other stouts in the area here that are on the same level, but it's something about this one that's just like really gets me. And I love bourbon. I think that helps.
It's very helpful.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But since we spent all this money on Bourbon County Stout, I guess My Sock Summer, you're going to have to pay some bills.
This is a special message from the USPS. If you want your special person to get their 108 gift before Christmas, you better order today. Right now, actually, I'll box that gift up and ship it out lickety-split. Need last-minute gift ideas? We got stickers, we got koozies, we got sweatshirts, we got T-shirts, sizes from small to 6XL. That's fucking right. And right now, through Monday, you can save $5 on your purchase of $25 or more using the code 5OFF25. That's 5OFF25. Yep, that's 20% off our already reasonably priced merch. So head to the108.com, click on the merch store ad, and buy some gifts. Boom. Christmas shopping completed.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, very nice.
I mean, you know what? We left all the prices up, too. We didn't like put this shit back to pre-Black Friday prices and then said, oh, we'll give you $5 off. This is the same prices. Right. There's still $10.80 108 shirts.
Yeah, that's
chilling there, waiting for you to get it. Yeah, I mean, what the fuck are people get? You know what? We'll stop for a minute.
Let's go change the prices right now.
You go take care of your shopping and then come back.
Yeah,
just pause us.
All right, you're back. Thank you for your support. All right, so let's get into some White Sox stuff. It's only been about 400 hours that we've been talking about other shit, but let's get into the White Sox now. I mean, let's get the initial business out of the way. We got to talk about something. We got other stuff to talk about, but let's talk about this main thing, the most important thing.
The main vein.
Yes. Oh, baby.
Len Kasper is now the voice of the White Sox on the radio.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I'll let you guys talk about this a little bit after I give my little piece on it, but I don't care.
That's your little piece. That's it.
I mean,
no, I mean, like, honestly, like, I think it's cool that like Len looked at the Sox and said like, oh, I want to come here and I want to do this, but I also thought like, okay, he doesn't like what's going on where he's at.
Yeah,
and if he doesn't want to leave Chicago, there's approximately one other option.
Right,
and the other team,
obvious place to go.
Yeah, the other team just had a guy die, so maybe there's an opening. So they can get right in there.
There is a substantial opening. That's absolutely correct.
Yep.
I need to tell you something, Treasy. Are you ready for it?
No.
I wrote a blog about this. Sorry, I wrote a blog about the Lynn Kasper.
I'm drinking.
We had just gotten done doing the 108 podcast last Thursday night. I was a little buzzed up. I went upstairs because I like to record downstairs, and I see this news breaking on Twitter. And so I immediately I'm like, what the fuck, is this real? Like, I clicked into the article like just to make sure this isn't bullshit. And so then I opened up WordPress. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna write just whatever comes off the top of my head, And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm borderline upset at how well the blog did, because all I did was fucking pour out my brain for 30 seconds, wrote 200 words, and fucking launched it out there. And I have so many blogs, so I put a lot of thought or whatever into it, and they do as well as a blog like this. But this one I put no thought into. I have one part of the blog that I'm proud about. Can I read it to you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Here's an excerpt from the blog. You know what? I don't care why Lynn Kasper is leaving the Cubs and marquee network. All I really care about is what this means for the White Sox. Guess what? The White Sox and 108 fans, we're now the hot girl at the bar. We're the high school quarterback. We're the person that always wins the Super Bowl square pools. We're the person that got tickets to Hamilton. We just got a reservation at Dorsia. It's our time. We're Dirk Diggler. And it's a picture of Dirk Diggler and says, I'm the biggest star here, man. And that's the way it is. That's the White Sox right now. We're the big swinging star.
Like, you have to take a shot because he read from a blog that he wrote, right? Like,
that's
that's part of the drinking
that's
game,
like 20
right?
drinks. But
that's continuous drinking. That's what it is.
I mean,
waterfall.
I don't think we ever made a rule for this, but you did a Boogie Nights and a American Psycho mention in like 2 seconds.
That's crazy.
That's fantastic.
That's a lot of dick.
Our guy Billy Wires came at me right away and he said, the Dorsia reference, he fucking loved it. One thing that has come out of this, and there's been a lot of back and forth about Lennon. I don't think any of us want to spend a lot of time on it, but
not really.
There's I'm a little bit curious about. There's supposed to be a Len Kasper and Jason Benetti podcast. I'm interested in what kind of podcast they'll put together that I'll never listen to.
But you'll be on it, so you'll at least listen to one.
No, I will definitely not be on it.
Dude, they'll be scraping. They'll need somebody. They'll need you.
Like, what would they talk about that you'd be like totally interested in? Like, if they do a baseball podcast,
I mean, I think it's pretty easy, right? I mean, like, if I look at those, those two guys, I'm thinking sabermetrics, right? And they'll probably do something along those lines. But what would be way better is if they just did one about all the pussy they get on the road.
Exactly. That was where my mind went, right? Like, immediately.
Now, I would listen to that shit. Or if they talked about all the people in the broadcast industry that are assholes, and they would bring up stories about them and name them, I'd listen to that shit right there. I'd be way interested in that shit.
Or like told ours to score pussy. Yep,
I assume Len came up in a similar way, like doing like and I don't know much about Len Kasper other than his Cubs time, because I'd hear him there. But I assume he came up through the minors just like everybody else and did paid his dues through those times. Like, if they did a podcast about those things and like being on the bus for those trips and things like that, like, that would be cool. Although I don't know, I don't know how it works in the minors and how much actual cool stories there are there. But like, you would think there has to be some shit. Like, it has to be like, there has to be some weirdness that happened enough to at least fill like a season of podcasts.
Yeah, you'd think so. You'd think there would be stories kind of from all that stuff. I don't know.
Do you think that we have like an elevated taste compared to like a regular person that would listen to a podcast? Because we're trying to create interesting content. So therefore, when we want to listen to content, we want interesting content also. And like, most people are just like, I just want Jason Benetti with his vocal cords of gold, like saying grapefruit.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'll give you an example of why I don't think so. So both you and I have, in fact, all three of us have played musical instruments in our life. We know how to play guitar, bass, but nevertheless, we know how to do that. We've been in bands. Do you think that like you somehow enjoy music differently or more than someone like Wally, who's like really into music and like and has a very discerning taste for music. Like,
No,
I don't think so.
I don't.
Like,
Yeah,
I think tons of people consume podcasts that don't ever even want to do a podcast, and really have and consume so many of them that they have probably a more heightened level of interest than we do.
See, the only thing that fucks up your theory is that Wally was in a Menudo cover band when he was younger. So he was actually in a band. So you can't really use him as an example. Maybe Pete, Aloha Mr. Hand, like, because he loves music too. Like, I know, and that's a.
I was going to use Biggins, but there was a very obvious instrument joke you could make, and that's why I didn't.
We don't do that kind of thing.
No, you're right. I get you. I'm just like, that's what came into my head. It was just like, well, I don't want to hear bullshit. Like, I want to hear good shit. Like, I don't necessarily like get in on that. And I think there is a certain segment of people that are just like, I'm just going to listen to this because it's White Sox, or whatever. But yeah, I don't think that would fall into that category.
I'm sure there are, but if it's fucking boring, people are going to turn it off either way.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, yeah,
that's the common denominator, right? I mean, we don't all ingest the same stuff either. Like, we all are into stuff, but we don't. It's not like if you looked at our podcast lists, we'd have some crossover, right, and things that we listen to, but there'd be shit that's a complete outlier across each of us that the other ones aren't interested in at all. So I think it's possible that, but I think you're right. What it's going to be is people. Oh, it's a White Sox podcast, and then it can't be Seinfeld. It can't be a show about nothing because then it won't get there. I like Teresa's idea. If it was stories from all this stuff. But then you kind of wonder, though, like, do they have, like, Lynn Kasper did 16 years with the Cubs. Before that, I think he did several years as the Miami TV play-by-play. But Eddie's young. I mean, I don't think he spent that much time toiling away at some bullshit jobs. Like, because he went to Syracuse. He had, like, the good path, kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you still have those experiences, right? And they can start it with, okay, here's our experiences, here's the things that we've done, and talk about those stories. But then start to bring people on the podcast, and each person who's doing broadcasting all around the country is going to have those stories, and they're going to be able to connect to them in a different way. It's like when you listen to House of L, right? Like, Lawrence can connect with people about their experience coming up in the broadcast industry that, like, I couldn't possibly have that conversation.
Right. Yeah.
And
agree.
The connection there is so good, and it's like you can really start to feel the way that things work behind the scenes, and, like, you understand, like, what people go through to do this. And I'm sure it's even more interesting for these guys who are. I mean, to me, this reminds me of, like, like the touring band, right? Like, these guys are like the touring band. They have not only they're paying their dues, driving around in the van and shit, but they've got all the stories too that go with just, like, you're never home, and so you're this nomadic lifestyle. I think it would be really cool if they did that. That I would be in for that.
Nice. Yeah,
that's enough, Len.
Well, the only thing that I liked about it is that we fucking stole something from the Cubs that was obviously beloved. So now they kind of know how it was. It doesn't exactly make up with the Harry Carey thing, but now if you add Steve Stone, but Steve Stone got fired, so we didn't really steal him per se. But, like, now that we have two of their real, like, good natural resources, they're like, fuck. And then, like, you got everything going on the north side that's going on, and like, people are just like, Jesus, what's next? Like, what are they gonna lose? Like, is, like, Clark gonna die? Is, like, Clark gonna have to put pants on? Like, what? Like, what's the next step? Like, what's the next thing that puts, like, another dagger into the heart of the North Siders? Other than Carl's, like, Christmas song list. Let's fucking
what's gonna put a dagger into them is when poor Tom Ricketts has to shutter up all the buildings he bought around there and all the restaurants and stuff, and there's just like the for lease signs in every window all around that neighborhood. And nothing against Wrigleyville, except
it sucks.
Metro's the only place I want to go up there.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
But let's talk about what we came here to talk about, which is some of the players that we've recently picked up. And the first one, we're going to go with 108 Thick Boy.
Oh,
Lance Lynn.
Hell
Oh,
yes.
baby, that body and that beard. He was made. I mean, like, if this was a 4-screen instead of 3-screen, Lance Lynn should be the 4th. I mean,
There's no
God
question.
damn, he looks like a 108er. I fucking love it. I'm so happy about this. But you know what? My Suck Summer, I know someone who wrote a blog about this, so I'm going to kick it to him first. Beef, give us the lowdown on one Lance Lynn.
Well, thank you, Treasy. I did write a blog about it. So obviously you've mentioned the clear and obvious things that would have us, the 108ers, embracing Lance Lynn. He's 108 thick. He's got a gorgeous beard. He's also been top 6 in Cy Young Award voting the last 2 years. So that's overall kind of a slightly better performance than our king, our ace, Lucas Giolito, that's been here for a while. I happened to watch the press conference. Ooh, that's a gorgeous beard, baby.
Dude, he's crazy. He's already done that Bourbon County, and he's moved on. Oh, my God.
He's going to have a night. Wait till we get to last call. We won't even be able to understand him.
When do we get to my ad read?
Now you know. Sorry, Loaf. Keep going, please.
No worries, baby. Interrupt anytime you want. I love it.
You're the one that made it. I didn't interrupt. You called it out. Then I just jumped on it. Go ahead.
I'm just fucking with you.
I apologize.
So Lance Lynn's overall performance has been terrific. Now, Lance Lynn is 33 going on 34 years old. And he only has 1 year left on the deal. So $8 million is left due to Lance Lynn as of right now. For me, I really like this trade because it upgrades the White Sox rotation enough at that next spot. I don't even want to call him the third starter because I think he's probably the second or first best starter in this rotation heading into 2021. But it upgrades that top 3 enough and should provide enough protection to the young part of the rotation that we're not as exposed. I mean, the White Sox rotation was very exposed in the 60-game season. And when you stretch that out to 162 and you stretch that out to we got to go play those tough teams in the AL East when a regular schedule opens up, and we got to play the tough teams in the AL West. So it's not just us pounding on the central divisions anymore. I think it's a rather large upgrade. I know I saw a lot of people a little bit bemoaning the fact that we had to give up Dane Dunning. I'm sure you guys have your thoughts about giving up Dane Dunning and just sort of saying we got to give up 6 years of this guy for just 1 year of that guy. And people need to start getting used to the fact that now that we're a competitive team, we're going to be giving up 6 years, 7 years of guys for 1 or 2 years of veteran players. That's just always going to happen. One silver lining with Lance Lynn is that if he's great this year, if he really performs for you on the 1 year, you can offer him the qualifying offer next year. So instead of it being a 1 year, $8 million deal, he's more than likely at 34 going to take the qualifying offer. It becomes 2 years at 27, and it's still a nice, palatable thing. And then the trade looks even better, assuming it works out.
Beef, I wanted to touch on that because I thought I'm glad the way that you framed that because I think
that's awesome.
We're seeing a lot in Twitter where people are talking about, oh man, we should get an extension going for Lance Lynn, and a lot of it is balanced on we gave up 6 years of this guy, so we should get more years of this guy, and like that is not the way to think about this. This is, it made me, what it makes me think of? It makes me think of the George Carlin, I never fucked a 10, but one night I fucked 5 2s. and that's really like, so if you try and think about this in a way that makes a little more sense to just, if you're thinking about it in like you're right now. If you had like a collection of baseball cards, right? You have like almost a complete set of something, and you need a $3 card to finish this set off, and then you have the whole set, and that set is very valuable to you in its entirety.
Yeah. You
would pay, or you would give away 6-7 cards that are each worth $2 to get that $3 card.
Right.
Because at this point in time, it is the most valuable piece that you can get. The other pieces, over time, they're valuable, and in their own right by themselves are valuable, but they don't get you to that complete set that you need. That is very valuable. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Sox are trying to do right now. They're trying to put these pieces in place to have a team that can win in 2021.
Right.
And it's been so long since we've thought about trying to go for something and win everything this year that people are in this mentality of hoarding as much possible future value as you can. But future value is fucking worthless unless there's a year where you go, we're going to win this shit. Like,
right.
Don't be the Royals of the 2000s and just go like, every year we're just going to gather up more and more bullshit and never win anything, you know? And they got lucky once, and that was enough for them. That's not enough for me. Let's fucking do this right now at the beginning of the window and try and win some shit.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I'm a guy that you would put into the camp that liked Dane Dunning, and I liked him a lot, and I thought he did a good job last year, and I thought he showed some stuff that was promising. But I also don't think we have 2 years that we can wait for Dane to be as good as Lance is going to be right out the gate. Right, and it's like Lance reminds me, and when you were talking Chirizi and Beef, the person that popped in my head was like, how good would a Jake Peavy be in this lineup for us? Like a guy that can just go out and eat fucking innings, can be like a solid just arm, like nothing spectacular, nothing like, oh, he's just gonna strike everybody out, but just a fucking workhorse. Hopefully Lance is better in the 6th inning, because that's when Jake Peavy used to fall apart. But maybe we'll see how it goes. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I just like the window is open. It has been open, and now it's gonna start shutting. So if we had, yes, we'd have Dane Dunning for 6 years, but at the 6-year mark with Dane Dunning, we're either trading him to build a new team, or we're hoping that somebody's like, we've traded him before to get something to the next one. Because
if
he might not be good.
If he's just a number 4 starter that whole time, like how valuable was that to you?
Right. Well, but he wouldn't be, so that's a big thing.
And so the Lance Lynn thing, I like what you're saying, Beef, because I don't want 36-year-old Lance Lynn, really. I that's not interesting to me. But if he has a great year this year, yeah, I'd pay $19 million to see him again next year. If he doesn't, then he's gone.
We give him 19 for the repeat.
And Treasy, I mean, you brought this point up in previous podcasts. The way Rick Hahn likes to do it is he likes to keep the balance sheet relatively clean, right? So he did a lot of those. Now, all these guys failed, but he did a lot of the Edwin Encarnaciones and the Diogo Gonzalez's where they had an option year. So if it worked, if they were really good, he got them locked down. If they're bad, which most of these types of deals had been bad, at least for those like low-end free agent pickups,
right,
they're easily like discarded, right? And so Lance Lynn's, even though I expect a lot more out of Lance Lynn than I would have expected out of any of them, he's got the deal with the same characteristics where you effectively have like an option year with the tag that you can throw on him, with the qualifying offer for 2022, and you could lock him down. And it's weird because it lines up, like my Sox owner was saying, yeah, great, the guy could be a 4th starter 6 years from now. Your first window, and I wrote a blog about this as well. Maybe I'll put a link up to it at some point. I wrote a blog about the 2 windows the White Sox have. And window number 1 closes after the 2023 season, because you got Abreu's contract running out after 2022. Then you have Lucas Giolito, Dallas Keuchel, and Yasmani Grandal running out after 2023. So you're sort of gutted of all that, unless there's extensions or whatever. But as of right now, today, when you're thinking about those teams, that chunk, a very prominent part of that team, is absolutely fucking gone. And it's not like there's specifically incumbents that are going to fill those spots. You got some potential behind it. You got an Andrew Vaughn. You got a Michael Kopech. The catching side, they don't have a Yasmani Grandal from what I could see. So fans need to start adjusting their
calculus. We got 5 2s back there.
It is 5 2s. You ain't kidding.
We got a 10 and 5 2s.
The fans have to start adjusting their calculus to like, oh, fuck, we're going to start running out of time. And I think everyone looks at it and thinks that the White Sox are going to be the Dodgers. But don't assume they're going to be the Dodgers. You just watched on the north side how quickly the thing can go. And that lasted 6 years, right? Don't assume it'll last longer than that. It might. We might get lucky, and we might hit this thing exactly right, and it lasts longer than that. But assume it's not gonna. Assume it's gonna be shorter. Assume it's gonna be 4 years or 3 years or 5 years or something, and start planning for we need to win this fucking game.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now let me ask you guys a question about the trade side. So traded Dane Dunning. We talked a little bit about him. I think universally all like Dane Dunning, right? I mean, we're
yes.
fans. Now what? And I think he was borderline heroic last year, coming off injury, filled in admirably, pitched well. I mean, like best you could expect of the guy coming off an injury. But my question is this. Do you think we learned anything sort of about the market value of the White Sox other pitching prospects and the fact that the Rangers went for Dunning instead of maybe going for some of the younger guys like Kelly or Thompson or Dahlquist? Or do you think maybe the White Sox value those guys more and Dunning was the one they felt was a little more expendable?
So if I'm looking at this from the view of the Rangers and trying to figure out what they were looking to do in this deal, is they were trying to not only obviously they're trying to maximize the value of Lance Lynn, but they are also trying to turn this around fast. It doesn't look like they're kind of going full rebuild. It looks like, because they haven't talked about moving a Gallo yet or anything. You haven't seen a lot of smoke around there. Like,
no, and they actually just traded for Nate Lowe from the Rays, who you think will be their everyday first baseman this year.
Right.
So like they made a trade in that direction. You know,
they're making moves like it won't be this year. We can probably assume that they're not going to make a run at something this year, but next year I think they are going to want to contend in that division, and Dane Dunning's a great piece for that. Dane Dunning's a guy that you could stick right in that middle of your rotation if you're the Rangers. I mean, he'll probably be towards the top of the rotation this year, but I think, if they're going to contend, he's going to get pushed back down into the middle of the rotation. That's a good piece. I mean, looking at our roster right now, 15 minutes before Lance Lynn got traded for, that was the piece we needed. Like, and that's what they're looking to do is in a couple of years that for Dunning to be that piece, so like somewhere in the 3 to 5 range of the pitching staff, and just be that solid guy there. And I think this is how baseball moves should work. Both teams should get something that they need. Like, it's not a swindle. There's very rarely is there some bumbling moron in the front office that you could just like roll over and just take whatever you want. Right. Yeah. So you're making a trade and you're saying, I want something that is valuable right now, and I'll give you something that will be valuable in the future. And we can both be happy about it because the time that we're trying to win is different. Yeah. And that's just a very reasonable thing to do. The kind of thing you would do with anybody if you were trying to be fair and trying to work something out and hoping that next year we could also do this, right? So, I mean, I think it makes sense from their side. Beef, I want to talk about something from the Sox side and from the market side in general. I was looking at this trade, and I was thinking about how the White Sox going into this offseason were known to be looking for a starter.
Yeah. And
they were attached to Stroman. They're attached to Bauer. They're, every guy that you saw, the Sox were a team in the list.
Yeah, they're in on everybody.
How much did this trade, where you take Lance Lynn out of the trade rumors and you put him on the Sox, who needed to fill that hole, and how much did that depress the market? Like, I think Bauer's still going to get money. Like, he's still going to get a ton of money. But how many teams were going to be that fucking mystery team on the deal? Like, how many times were the Sox going to be that team that was going to drive up the price on somebody? And what does that middle look like now, where the Sox are not in?
Yeah, I actually don't think in total it will, because I think there's enough suitors for starting pitching. And serious suitors, teams that are willing to spend, I think the Blue Jays are probably still in that market, even though they went and got Hinge and Ryu last offseason. And it just kind of seems like the qualifying offers kind of set a top for everybody that isn't Trevor Bauer. And now everyone's kind of operating in that, because you saw once the qualifying offers went, you saw like Drew Smiley get $11 million. You saw Robbie Ray get $8 million. You saw like kind of random starting pitchers, even guys without a great track record or with the recent track record being filled with, with injuries or with inconsistency, and they're getting solid pricing. I think the market in general is just weak. Like the White Sox trading for Lance Lynn was a sign that, well, we're not going to pay for Trevor Bauer, but we're going to get a guy that's better than all the rest of the free agent guys that are out here. I think it's pretty fair to say Lance Lynn is a step above them. I actually think Lance Lynn's better than the qualifying offer players as well. I would take him over Marcus Stroman. I'd take him over Kevin Gausman, although Kevin Gausman, he found pitches last year, and so maybe he's a stud now. So I think what the White Sox did was realize, well, we don't want to pay for Bauer, so we'll pay for Lance Lynn, who's like, the junior version of it, above what we can get out there. Like all the rest of the shit that's out there that might be somewhat comparable, the Masahiro Tanakas and the James Paxtons, are fraught with way more risk. They could potentially pitch better, but they're fraught with, like I would say even more risk than a Lance Lynn, even though Lance Lynn does have age and fatness.
Age and fatness. The 108 podcast.
Plus, he also is like a dead ringer for Lamar Hoyt, which is going to be awesome when
That
he's
really
locked
is.
up
That's-
in
yeah,
those
that's
83s.
true.
Like, that's just going to be dope. Like, you're going to be like seeing a ghost. You're going to be like, oh my God, which I don't think Lamar Hoyt's dead. So, but I apologize, Lamar. But yeah, like that's going to be dope. I'm really excited about that. That's going to be so choice.
Beef, I'm super disappointed in you right now
Why is
because
that?
I set you up for the Matt Schumacher spike, and you just whiffed on it big time.
I still want him. I
all
still
this-
want him at Schumacher. I still want him up in this place.
All the
He's my
time and
guy.
energy I put into my notes, and you ruined it.
Finally, some time and energy in your notes.
I had notes, and you ruined my notes. How dare you?
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry.
All
Hey,
right.
before we move on, we've done a great disservice and a big amount of disrespect to the other person involved in that trade, who is the 6th rounder from Arizona, who is our number 10 top prospect, Avery Weems, who apparently, according to a good friend, our I guess friend of the 108, Sly Dano, posted pictures of his abs all over his Twitter, so that's why I saw it. Yeah, he's a real person. So, like, apparently he's a real guy, and they just got a nice little, they got a little bonus on top of their Dane. All right, so let's give him a little bit of respect too. We hardly knew ye, but good luck and nice abs.
Beef, you called him Rolo Tomasi, right?
Yes, in the blog,
I think it's different. I think it's
Okay.
different. I think it's Kaiser Soze. He felt like a myth, and then he popped up for just a moment,
Yep.
and now we're never gonna see him again.
There's going to be an unsolved mysteries about Avery Weems someday. He got traded to the Rangers, and then he just disappeared. No one could find him anymore. And we'll be doing a story about this 10 years from now about how he just disappeared into thin air.
Arriving in Dallas-Fort Worth, he never got to his Nissan Altima. His boarding pass was found 4 miles away in a field with decapitated horses or something, armadillos.
That was a really good Robert Stack, I got to admit.
Hey,
I had flashbacks of the original show.
He's got a great voice, Robert Stack. He's
No
dead,
question.
so
Yeah,
rest in
he
peace, Robert Stack.
So are those decapitated armadillos.
All 6 of them.
Great band, by the way.
Yeah,
Armadillos.
Saw him at Riot Fest. All right. I think this is the one where we're gonna get in the real meat and potatoes of the episode here.
We'll get in there
boy.
in the weeds on this band.
And my Sox Summer, I'm going to start with you on this one because I have to ask a question.
Yep.
Do you think the Sox had some kind of excess stock of Adam Eaton bobbleheads that they needed to get rid of.
I do. So this is a great great move on that front. It was funny because it only took about 13 seconds before the Sockside boys DM me and said, "Hey, those Adam Wankanobis are popular again." And then I saw it again on one of our message board or our groups at Facebook, and they're like, "Hey, I guess it's back in fashion." So I'm like, "Sweet," because I still have 4 of them. So it would be really nice to sell those. So yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I don't think that was the exact reason, but
then why? Tell me why.
I feel like okay, I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you some things that I don't like about this. But and it's not that I don't like the move because I think obviously me and Loaf talked about this very quickly as he picked up his stuff the other day. I think that he's definitely an upgrade over Nomar Mazara in right field. Defensively, I mean. Hopefully he can stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. And if he's healthy, I think he's fine. I think if the rumors are true that he's changed his attitude and there's no longer robbing clubbies from Seattle, then we're probably okay.
Is Clubby's a strip club? What are we talking about here?
If he's no longer, referring to somebody's child as a leader in the clubhouse, I think he's probably okay.
What if it's Rick Giolito's child?
Well, that's
our friend, our close friend, Rick Giolito.
That's right, yeah, yes. I bodied me on Twitter for no reason. Fuck.
That was just to make an inroad.
I just wonder, okay, so he's not going to hit for power, obviously. We have enough people to hit for power. But we need a guy that can get little base hits. He can go in and replace somebody to run for him. He's probably just as good as Dyson was last year to do shit like that. So I mean, isn't that his name? His name?
No,
Dyson?
he's better than Dyson.
Okay,
Jared
he's
Dyson.
better than Dyson. No, I'm talking about
just
for
running.
running.
Just running.
Yeah, just for pinch running. So no, I don't think he's all that expensive, obviously. And I just, it's just like being healthy isn't a big thing. Now, him being right in front of us, that's going to be awesome. Chicks are going to love that because Adam Eaton's got a nice ass, apparently. That's what Wally told me. So yeah, it's like he's going to be hanging out. It's going to be fun. Now, the one thing that that it's been peppered all over this deal is the people that don't like it just said, this is a Kenny move. So I don't fully understand what the fuck's going on here. When there's something wrong, we sign somebody cheap, it's a Jerry move. Or when we don't get somebody, it's a Jerry move. We sign an old person that's been here before, a veteran, we brought him back, that's a Kenny move. Where are all the Rick moves? Like, where's Rick Hahn moves? Because that's what I want to know. What did he do?
Was the Rick moves ones you like. They're the ones they like.
Whoa.
And then the ones they don't like are the Kenny moves.
But didn't Rick Hahn?
We don't know about the Rick moves yet because we got to see how things turn out, and then we know which ones were the Rick moves.
That's right. That we can figure out.
Because
this one will become one if it works.
I'll tell you, the Abreu move is now a Rick move.
Like, well, no, and then.
But it was a Jerry move when it happened. Remember?
It was Jerry and Kenny wanted Abreu, and now it's Rick and Marco Patti wanted Abreu.
Oh, it is something that sticks out, and like I hadn't heard Kenny's name attached to anything this offseason. Nobody said, "Oh, hey, that was really good by Kenny." Oh, that was really bad by Kenny. He was largely avoided when people were calling the White Sox racist for hiring Tony La Russa. He was not brought up. They did not say, "Oh, well, Kenny's involved," or "Oh, hey, so White Sox the first one of the first GMs, few GMs in fucking baseball history that was black." I just don't understand, like, how we're going to start and nitpick these things and then label them based on somebody that we don't kind of like. Now, I know there was some.
Can I jump on the Kenny thing just for a second?
Yeah, please.
Because I want to understand if you're one of these people that are going like, this is a Kenny move. Can you explain to me why Kenny, who was the one who went into the locker room and told Adam LaRoche, get this kid the fuck out of here. And then Adam Eaton went to the radio and said, that kid should be here. How did that endear him to Kenny? And Kenny seems like a motherfucker that holds a grudge. So I'm surprised if you're telling me that this is a Kenny move, like Kenny was like, you know what? That guy that motherfucked me on the air, that is the guy we absolutely need to bring back. I'm going
Bring
to
him
force
back.
my weight through here and make you do this.
Yeah.
What?
That's how loyal Jerry is, Chris. I mean, Teresi, my bad. Have a drink. No, I just was like, God, Jesus, fucking change the goddamn record. Like, just be like, this is a White Sox move, okay? It's what it is. It's not sexy. It's not awesome. It's something. It's serviceable. It's better than what we had, and it's an improvement. So we're getting better. I read a tweet. Some guy was saying we're better than we were last year. Our manager is better than it was last year, hopefully, if he's sober. And then, this is another one. It's better than what we had. So let's just keep it moving, So
yeah, but better than what we had. I mean, we had a sack of bullshit out there in right field. You can't just settle for fucking better than what we had. So what? Any fucking thing will be better than what we had. I don't like that description at all. I think a way to break this down, and let me hit you guys from a couple different angles here.
And I'm gonna motherfuck you.
A lot of people were pointing out the fact that Adam Eaton's WAR cratered when he went to the Nationals, right? So he was this 4 or 5 win WAR player per year, and then that shit went down substantially when he went to the Nationals. Now he had some injuries, but even in the full seasons, I'm looking at his batting lines and like they're not materially different, So it's kind of like, oh well, it's the defense. So let me read you a stat. I think at least a big part of the fact that his WAR is not as high anymore is maybe the fact that it's not capturing the fact that teams figured out he could throw, and then they don't run on him anymore. So let me read you his outfield assist. So what an outfield assist is, anyone listening that doesn't know, it's when an outfielder throws to a base and records an out with their throw. So if they throw to second, someone trying to stretch a double, or if they throw from the right field corner. Adam Eaton has a good arm, so he's a small guy with a good arm, so he shocked people. So when he's with the White Sox, 2014 he had 9 outfield assists. 2015, 8 outfield assists. 2016, a fucking whopping 18 outfield assists. 18 guys thrown out. When he gets to the Nationals, 2017, he had 2. 2018, he had 2. 2019, he had 3. And the 2020 shortened season, 0. So he went from being prime John Stockton, a big assist guy, to being like Orlando Woolridge, who actually took more shots than Jordan in that game in '86 at Boston Garden. And Jordan had 63 points. He became that guy. He doesn't get the assists anymore. And when I was looking at this, I'm like, is this it? I felt like in Naked Gun when Frank Drebin, they're trying to defuse the bomb, and he goes to run around the room, and he unplugs it. That's what I felt like looking at this. I'm like, is this really, like, materially his defensive downcline? Is just no one runs on him so he doesn't record, like, these extra outs? I assume he's still a reasonably okay outfielder. So I'm a little confused. I think he's probably better than we might be giving him credit for. Not as good as his previous stint here. Obviously, he's aged and he's lost a little bit, but I still think it would be okay. Teresi, my Sox, what do you think? Anything to that thesis?
So it's interesting, Beef, because if you look at the kind of the pieces that are in place of how they kind of graph what an outfielder is and how their fielding is there's a few things, right? There's like range and there's errors, and UZR. He has had a decline in range over this time.
Yep.
But the weird part that really alters like where he ranks in like Fangraphs type stuff is arm. And it's funny because like that 2016 year, right? And his arm in right field is like a 9.6. But last year it's like a negative. And it's like he hasn't had like shoulder surgery or something, right? Yep. He hasn't like, I mean, he had the finger injury. I don't even know which hand it was on. So I don't know if it was even his throwing hand. But that's the injury. That's the only upper body injury that I know of that the guy had.
Right.
Fangraphs doesn't know either, so it's okay.
And
so they just picked.
And so the fact that like in the last 4 years, his arm by Fangraphs levels has literally fallen off his body makes me think that what you're saying is absolutely right. Like all of his value came from his arm, and then no one ran on him, so he gets no value out of the arm.
Mm-hmm.
So he might as well just not have one. And so he might be kind of the same outfielder. He might be just about the same outfielder. And even if he's not, let's say he's now dropped a level, and now he's just a good right fielder. A good right fielder is fine. We can use that. But I was looking at this move, and then I wrote a blog about this. But
yes, you did.
The thing that I thought was interesting about Eaton, and the thing that is valuable to the Sox, is that he gets on base about 35% of the time. And if you look at, we've been combining 2019 and 2020 because 2020 is so short. He didn't play all the games in 2020, so you got to combine those, and you look at it, and he's about like 348 or something like that for his OBP in that time. That's good. Like a guy who gets on base 35% of the time, that's in like the top 20 outfielders in the league every year, right? So he's up at the top of outfielders getting on base, which is valuable to the Sox because they suck at that.
Yeah.
Right. The walk rates have been brutal, and he has a high walk rate. He also has a lower strikeout rate than kind of the average hitter as well. So he provides two things that if you just didn't know Adam Eaton exists as a person, and you just looked at his stat line, you're like, oh, that stat line provides nice balance to what the White Sox already do.
So I thought the move itself was unexciting, and I just thought it was fine. And hey, maybe he's an asshole. Maybe he's a born-again asshole, and he's fine now. I don't know. Like, I don't care, really. I don't have to ever talk to Adam Eaton. I will never talk to Adam Eaton. I think that's pretty much guaranteed.
Oh, we're talking to him.
Treasy, can I add something to that? You said the guy may be an asshole. Let me throw something out there, because I watched the press conference, right?
Yeah.
And, the guys are asking him some questions, and then he brings up his time with the Nationals. And he brings up the term bedside manner in there when he's talking about, kind of what he learned about dealing with people or whatever. And I realized something, and this has probably been out there, and I just haven't noticed it, but I think Adam Eaton just might be not very smart. I think he just might have been kind of a dumb guy and never realized that, you don't always have to say something. You could just shut the fuck up. And when he said the bedside manner thing, and he was talking about, different veterans that kind of taught him that, I got the impression that he was just like, no, don't be honest about everything. Shut your fucking mouth occasionally, because not everyone wants to hear what you got to say about everything. And it's like, that's common sense for a normal adult, but he never maybe learned that. He never that never got permeated. And then Howie Kendrick and Max Scherzer had to teach him, hey, motherfucker, shut up. This guy's having a rough time. Don't fucking bust his balls. Just fucking let it go. That's what it struck me as. So you guys think that's possible?
It's possible.
You know why it's possible? I think it's possible because we forget this about Major League Baseball players, that many of them are the guy in, we were talking about earlier, the guy in the band. These guys started going on the road when they were 17.
Right.
What do they know about regular life? They don't know shit.
Nothing. Yeah. Right.
Right.
So Adam Eaton's gonna say some ridiculous. He's a fucking 28-year-old millionaire. Yeah, he might say some ridiculous shit about how people should control their finances in the minor leagues. And I'm not forgiving him for that. I mentioned it in the blog. I think he's a fucking idiot for saying it. But it's possible he is just an idiot. But the thing that perplexed me about this is not the move itself, or if Adam Eaton is a dick. I don't care. Probably is. But I don't care. When we started to hear things come out of here's what the Sox were looking at, and then they went with Adam Eaton, I don't get the idea of it was like him or Michael Brantley. And the more I heard about that, and the more people saying it, makes me think, okay, there's probably some truth to this. They were looking at these two guys, and they chose Eaton. And to me, I'm wondering if they chose Adam Eaton truly to be their everyday right fielder, or if they said he can be our right fielder, but Adam Eaton, of the guys we can grab right now and get something that we want, which is on base percentage and low strikeout rate, and get something that we are missing, that plus their lefty.
Yeah.
Can we go get this real quick, have this here, and give ourselves some more optionality in the rest of the free agent market and see what falls to us? Because if you put Adam Eaton in the lineup right now, if you somehow get a better right fielder, it's not really a problem, because you move Eaton to left, you move Eloy to DH. If you find a DH or a left fielder, you upgrade that part, and then Eaton's fine in right field. Mm-hmm. I think they really kind of maybe are looking at Adam Eaton as, well, we can sell Adam Eaton as our right fielder. Not everyone's going to like it, but we could sell it, and he's going to give us some on-base percentage. But now we have some options. And where we fail or where we succeed we have a lot more places that we can go, and it's still them being cheap. But at the end of the day, they have a few more options as to where they're going to fill the next piece on offense.
You know what? I wish I had as much faith in the White Sox organization as you do, because I don't think that's the case, but I wish it was. I really would fucking love it if that was the case. If it was just a forward-thinking, like, here's a particular stat line we like. We know that we want this on the roster. We know Adam Eaton probably won't stay healthy for 162. Like, I think Adam Eaton's age and player style, where he has to have his playing time, monitored, his usage managed a bit. And he's not a guy like my Sox Summer said in the beginning, if he stays healthy. Yeah, he is an if he stays healthy guy at this point in his career.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So like, I wish, Teresa, that I thought they were that forward thinking. They were just like, fuck it. We'll go grab this guy for $7 million, but the plan is still going to be to get Marcell Ozuna if we can line him up for a contract, or to get Michael Brantley if we can line him up for a contract. God. And then we'll let Tony figure out how to use all the parts. And I would love it if that was the case, but I just don't believe it.
But why would Brantley be the other option? There's no way you were thinking we're going to play Michael Brantley in right field every day. There's just not.
Right.
It's because of there's a little bit of a similar profile in they don't have the big power upside. They both make a lot of contact. Eaton's got the better walk rate. Brantley's going to hit for a higher average, but like they're semi-similar. Whereas the rest of the right field crew out there, is either big strikeout rates with some walk rate, or they're like more contact guys who don't walk at all, like an Eddie Rosario. They got the Schwarbers and the Jock Petersons that need to be platooned, and they're big strikeout guys and shit. So like, I think it's just a profile similarity, maybe.
It is just a profile similarity, but they're different positions. I mean, anyone who's looking at it is not going to think that Brantley's going to be your everyday right fielder. I just don't. I don't believe that anyone thinks that right now. Like,
I give him a glove in right field. We let Palka play right field. We let Jermaine Dye's old ass play right field. We let anyone hang a glove out there.
But you're also letting Eloy play left, and you want Luis Robert to live.
He's gonna have his legs like those, like the like Speedy Gonzalez and all those commercials, or like the cartoons, where they're like a big circle and they're just moving. Like you just see like circles. Like that's
he's gonna be a road runner. Right. He's the road runner out there.
Unless you get him fucking go gadget arms, like yes, that's what you're gonna ask for.
That was awesome. That's a good pull too.
Now I got another question.
I'm gonna go watch some cartoons.
I want my Sox Summer to weigh in on this first. So I was thinking about this a little bit from the fan reaction, right? So fans were fucking immediately pissed about the Adam Eaton acquisition for a myriad of reasons. And I was thinking about this a little bit. So I had put out there, I said, is $7 million really like the price for an Adam Eaton in the post-pandemic? But the more you start seeing people sign, the more you realize pricing doesn't appear to be depressed as we once thought. So maybe $7 million is okay. So my thought was this. What about the timing of this deal? Because it was the first deal. What if Adam Eaton were to get signed by the White Sox, say, like, in the end of February? and he was the last piece. My Sox Summer, do you think that the outrage would be the same if he was like the last guy they're putting on this team in Februare?
I think so, and I think so because he's easily falls into the White Sox word retread. Like he's definitely a retread, and he falls in like because he's been here before already. Like normally our retreads are from another team. We don't really bring back our old retreads and then put them out. So it's different. Like I think the outrage would still be there, and I think we keep bringing up Barstool, but I think Dave said it really good that he represents a piece of recent White Sox history that is not very positive, like in a lot of people's minds. So like for him to be like back there, like it's a great story, right? The comeback is greater than the setback. Right, that the quote, the situation from Jersey Shore. But if he's coming back in and he has he could be put into a position to do something awesome and people could love him. He could leave a beloved guy, by some would every minor leaguer would still hate him, but he would at least have earned back some respect from some White Sox fans. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But and then again, Barstool Carl. Same thing. Do you want a George Springer in right field with a huge ass contract that you might not need in 3 years? Well, I mean, but what I'm saying, but what he was saying is like, hey, listen, maybe you don't need that. You have two other solid hitters on left, and left and center.
That just feels like a guy who is rooting for a team that has Jason Hayward.
Well, I know.
Exactly. He has buyer's remorse. If in hindsight I know that the guy's going to suck after we pay him a bunch of money, then yes, I do not want him on the team.
I get it.
But I don't know that already. So since I don't know that, give me the guy who's the best guy for the most money. I'll take that.
But could we go out and I don't know. God forbid we sign another pitcher. Okay, we could do that still. We could we could sign another bat. We could get a dedicated DH. We could do those things. Now, Springer could be the DH and the right field. So possibly, potentially, right? Like he could hit. He hits very well. I don't know. It's just there's still a lot left. I
think that's the point there, my Sox Summer, because if this happens at the end of the offseason and you pick up Adam Eaton, Beef, it's a disaster because there's not assholes like me to try and tell you, don't worry, they're just this is just giving them optionality. They're going to get someone else. That's impossible at that point.
You see how I left it open for you, Treasy? See, you could have assumed that in February when they made that, he was just an addition and they already had the thing all set up and he was like but you realize that your first thought was full of shit, that they will never fill in another bat behind it. So at least I brought you back to where everyone else in reality is at, that Adam Eaton's the right fielder and we're fucked.
I'm just saying that if they're signing him at that point, then they didn't have anything. Right now, they're just signing him as a security blanket.
Did anybody?
I believe it, and I'm gonna just fucking Jedi mind trick myself into thinking it.
Did anybody last year think we're totally fucking fine because we have Nomar Mazara playing right field? No one thought that.
There were dumb people who thought this. Yes,
no one thought that at all.
There were people who were like, he's gonna break out. I really love this move, blah, blah, blah. We weren't like that. We were like, well, this is a gamble. We'll be lucky if we get it.
I mean, I think I said this. I feel like I remember saying this, but I think what I said then when they signed him was, this is a nice guy to have kind of a risky but possible upside move. But obviously they're not done. You can tell that they're not done, and they're probably going to sign another guy.
Yeah, I think.
All right, I'm going to go jump off my balcony. I'll talk to you guys later.
One last note on the two player acquisitions combined, Treasy, and I want to get your take on this. My sense of both of them is that they are in the right vein for a team competing, in the sense that they are lowering the volatility of the overall performance of the White Sox. The fact that Lynn is the type of guy who's going to grind a lot of innings, I mean, assuming no injuries or whatever, And the fact that Adam Eaton brings in, a sort of stable on-base percentage, a guy who walks a bunch and makes contact, and it's kind of like, yeah, there could be some volatility in that performance in season, but in general, when he's him, he's going to get on base at a 350 clip, and that you're sort of like flattening this thing out because the White Sox don't walk as much, and last year they were really exposed by not having the innings.
At the end of the day, with the Eaton thing, Beef, if they move Madrigal up in the lineup, and then kind of everybody moves back from there, and Eaton is like your 7 or 8 hitter getting on base at a 35% clip, you're going to be very happy with that. You're not going to have a problem with that. And unless he sets the fucking clubhouse on fire, like no one's going to be talking about what a huge asshole he is, right? He's the 9th guy on the team that's going to get interviewed. He's not important enough for someone to talk to him anymore. Like they talked to him for like 3 minutes. He hung up on the dude, and then 45 minutes later, everyone was like, why do we need to talk to that guy? Let's go talk to Keuchel and Tim Anderson. That's way more entertaining for everybody.
Oh my God.
And so I don't think Eaton he's a non-story once the season starts. He's just a guy. And
he's just a guy.
If he's a guy that gets on base a bunch and plays a good right field, we're all going to be okay with it.
Look at how much of a non-story Tony La Russa is right now versus 3 weeks ago. Like, you don't hear how much everybody hates him every day.
You know why?
You actually have people coming out and saying, why has he not done an interview with us yet? So it's just like the tables have turned. Like, it's already not a big deal. I feel like. Go ahead.
It's on to the next thing. On to the next thing.
And I just want to clarify, I didn't say that it was no big deal, the DUI thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the hiring of Tony La Russa. The DUI thing is still a very big deal and seems to be a problem that needs to be addressed.
It'll be a big thing very soon when he gets he has to go to court.
Yes.
Yeah. That's coming up.
All right. So my cousin Vinny's in there representing Tony La Russa. So it's going to be great.
All right. So I don't want to stop the baseball talk because I feel like we're on a roll.
Can't stop.
And our guy Rick Hahn recently said that he likes for catcher, he likes the in-house options.
This is a Rick move.
And you know what? The most surprising part of this is that apparently Rick Hahn has never seen Boys in the Hood. Because I'm pretty sure that Ice Cube warned about the problems you're going to have with some in-house pussy. And on that note, we're going to bring back the horniness meter.
Yes.
And we're going to bring it back for our in-house catcher options. Beefloaf, the horniness meter is all yours. Why don't you guide us through this journey?
Maybe, let's do it. So, as you previously mentioned, Rick Hahn was asked about the catcher's situation. He said, well, we may look outside, but we're very happy with our in-house options. Now, the White Sox have 3 well-known in-house options. They're all on the 40-man roster. And so I want to go down the line. We'll go around in the circle. We'll jerk this thing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to start with Zach Collins in the horniness meter. I'd like to start with my Sox summer with a little Zach Collins horniness meter. Go.
Z-Dog. Now, listen, I don't see the fascination with Z-Dog myself, okay? Unless we're trying to build him up so we can trade him, I have no idea why he's still on the roster. He did nothing last year. He didn't play very much, but he took up a lot of space. I don't know. Maybe he has something that we can't see, but I feel like it's doubtful at this point. But who knows? Like, maybe when he's given a full opportunity, like so many people have told me that he needs to see, then maybe we'll be it. So now, horniness meter-wise, if we're talking about his girlfriend, I wouldn't need much there. But Z-Dog isn't my type. I need a regular old playboy to take care of business for old Z-Dog.
Treasy, you next.
So, first, I want to mention one thing, because you mentioned this, is that all 3 of these guys are on the 40-man roster. Mm-hmm. Right?
That's correct, yes.
And Yasmani Grandal who's very good, and I love
Yes.
Yasmani Grandal, is on the 40-man roster.
Yes, sir.
So 4 of our players, 10% of our 40-man roster is catchers.
Catcher.
Fucking
Yep.
ridiculous.
And these 3 guys, we're not sure if they're major league catchers, but we're going to find out probably.
Does that make sense? I don't think.
No.
Last year it was 5 because we had James McCann as well. And
Yeah.
he was also
God.
on there.
I don't know what percentage that is because I'm very drunk. So
We need more pitchers and less catchers.
12.5%.
that can't be right. So Zach Collins. This is that girl
He is
that
drunk.
everyone keeps telling you how nice they are and how much they really like you. And they think you should give it a shot. You'd really go well together. And after the amount I drank today, I'm kind of feeling like maybe they're right. But then you wake up and you realize I've made a horrible mistake. That is my level for one of Zach Collins.
All
Beef,
right.
how about you?
Zach Collins. I'm surprisingly chubbed up. I think this is one of those situations where you think it might not be a good idea. You'll probably regret it, but you're finally going to get in there and you're going to see what's happening. It's one of those where either way, you're going to tell your buddies that was a mistake, even if you enjoyed it. That's where I'm at with Zach Collins.
You go back to the
man.
well on that one, too.
But you don't tell nobody. You don't tell nobody about that. You keep that shit very quiet.
That's a 1:45 drunk text. You're just like, hey, what's
Sup?
going on? Sup.
Sup?
That's all you got to do, sup. I'm sleeping. Okay, can I come over?
Next up is one beautiful baby, Yermin Mercedes. And I'm going to start this one, and then we'll go around.
Nice. I'll go last.
I'm so damn excited for the exploits of the evening that I got to pull a There's Something About Mary, and I got to rub one out before I go out for the evening. I cannot leave the house with a loaded gun at the prospects of the Yermin. It's like perpetual Spanish fly. Does Spanish fly even exist? I feel like that's the type of scheme our old men were in back in the 70s, if it actually exists, but I think Spanish fly is probably bullshit.
I've seen ads. They had it. I don't know if it works, but yeah, they had it.
Treasy, how about you? Yermin Mercedes, Horniness meter.
Yeah. So this is prime. Oh man, I really want to get down with this, but I don't want to commit. Right? I'm just like, this looks good. I want to check this out. So you're all boned up, and then Yermin shows up to your first date wearing a wedding dress. And you're like, oh shit, this is not what I signed up for. Because once you really think about what you're getting into, you don't want this. You really don't want this.
That's good. Now listen, I don't know if he can actually play catcher. People just keep telling me that's what he can do. I've never seen him do it. Apparently, that's what he can do. So that, as well as his ability to play MLB baseball, is a little bit questionable. But could he have a polka-type run? Sure, I guess. Would I love that? Abso-fucking-lutely. Yermin is a beast, 108 thick, and so is his wife. Again, if this was about wives or girlfriends, I wouldn't need much to get the action in my Jackson. But as it's a rough and rowdy dude that tested positive for COVID, hit me with a nice vintage flick from the good folks at Naughty America, baby.
That's beautiful.
Fucking poetry, bitches.
I love it.
The last one of the night, the last Horniness meter of the night is Seby Zavala. And I would like Terezi E to begin the festivities with a Seby Zavala.
Okay. So Seby Zavala is basically Lara Flynn Boyle in Wayne's World. I seriously could have sworn
fuck?
we already broke up with Seby. And now my Wang is just frightened that he showed up with a birthday
Wang.
present for me, which is actually a gun rack.
My son Summers.
You want me to go?
Seby Zavala.
This guy comes up, he goes down, he takes a trip, he works it all around. I'm not sure what the end game is here. I know he has skills as the other guys do, but we just can't Frankenstein all these dudes together to make one good catcher. His girlfriend was the most normal person I've ever met at White Sox prom. She seemed kind of put off by the whole affair, which is pretty awesome. But again, it's not about the ladies here. It's about the dudes and their playing. I need some good vintage BTRA, big tits, round asses, from the good folks at May Brothers to get my Rager at attention.
I was not expecting that at all, but I love it.
Best series they ever had, especially the vintage ones. They're the best.
I've never heard it referred to by the initials. And
dude.
That's inside industry standard. That's how my son Summer
It's
rolls.
like the first time you heard Rage Against the Machine referred to as RATM. It's a day that you remember.
Well, no, it was the code on LimeWire. You would see BTRA, so you'd be like, "Oh, that's big tits, round asses, Bang Bros." All right, cool. Yeah,
I know that. All right, I will close out Seby Zavala. I'll be honest with you guys. I am completely flaccid. It's like seeing your ex out of the bar with some other dude that's clearly better looking than you, has more money than you, and from your vantage point, is swinging a lot lower than you are. Just demoralizingly limp. I'm getting strong Alfredo Gonzalez vibes as far as him as an actual catcher. Not in on Seby Zavala.
So I'll tell you something, Beef. The description you just gave really felt like it could be also the James McCann. Because when he goes to the Mets,
he's going away. Yeah,
we're gonna feel like that.
That's how we're gonna feel. You're right.
Especially when fucking Seby Zavala catching. All right. Well, it's time for me to pay some bills. We'll see how this goes.
This is going to be great.
If you don't hate money and you haven't signed up for PointsBet.com using promo bet, damn it, already. Promo code 108ing. I'm not sure what you're doing. Listen to your guy, Terezi E. Head over to PointsBet.com, click that red sign up button, and use the code 108ing. That will get you a deposit match of up to $250. That's right. Turn $250 into $500 without having to show hole on OnlyFans.
You can still do that if you want to.
Once again, PointsBet.com. Sign up. Use promo code 108ing. Easier than finding cocaine in Keith Hernandez's mustache. PointsBet.com. Promo code 108ing. Go do it right now.
Yes.
80 great analogies. As always, Terezi. Good job, buddy.
Limped through it.
Boy, it's a Shakespeare.
But at the end of the day, this is not the end of the show. We are going to get into Last Call. Bringing it back.
Yes.
Bring it back to the Last Call. And you know what? I'm gonna start us off here, guys. I'm gonna get us off on the right foot.
Do it, baby.
You know, sometimes I look at people and think about, if you told me they were related to someone famous, I'd believe it. So most recently, I was looking at a picture of Enosaurus at the end of an athletic article that he wrote. Now, if you've never seen him, go take a look before you listen to the rest of this. But when I saw his picture, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, if you told me that his great-grandfather was Larry Fine of the Three Stooges, I would definitely believe it. I would absolutely believe, if you told me that right now, I would say, yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I believe that. So what I want from each of you is to give me a similar pairing. Give me someone who we may know. It could be anyone that people who are listening to this podcast may know, and then give me their descendant.
Now, Loaf, I might steal yours because I know this is like pretty much on the tip of your tongue. So if I did that, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But this is where I'm going. Okay. Mike Tirico is easily the great grandson of Rocky Marciano. Okay, you look at these guys; they look exactly the same. Both 100% Italian, easily. Okay, I can't tell them apart. You put a picture, you do a side by side on the two monitors. I don't know what shoes. I can't tell. So that's who I'm going with. For your great question, Sharizi, Mike Tirico is the great-great-grandson of Rocky Marciano. So
Great-great-grandson.
Great-great-grandson.
Rocky Marciano existed 100 years ago.
I bet both of them say Managoth correctly.
That's
you, my sex summer.
That was off camera, motherfucker.
You know what?
God bless it.
Neither one of them liked that fucking Dominic the Donkey song. I'll tell you that.
Probably
That's
the
right.
only Italian Christmas song ever.
Other than Italian Christmas Carol.
No,
Beef loaf. Give me
that's
yours.
Jewish.
Tracy, when you floated this out there initially, I thought it was like, oh man, are we trying to like pick off how like Marilyn Manson was that kid from the Wonder Years? But I'm glad it's not that topic. It doesn't sound like it is that topic. So here's mine, and the older folks in our crowd will get this. I'm not sure. The younger folks, you'll have to look this up. But there's an actor named Whitman Mayo.
Yes.
And he's the actor that
Oh
plays
my God.
Grady Wilson
I know where you're going.
in Sanford and Son.
I'm leaving.
And I'm 100% sure that he's Steph Curry's grandpa. There's no fucking doubt in my mind. I'm not actually sure if he's Del Curry's dad. That's unclear to me, but I know without a shadow of a doubt that Whitman Mayo is the grandfather of Steph Curry. They look so fucking much alike. It's unbelievable.
I'm looking it up right now.
You set me up.
Oh, yeah.
You absolutely set me up. I thought you were going with a mayor joke.
No.
Oh, that would have been bad.
I've long thought that Whitman Mayo and Steph Curry look a lot alike, just decades apart.
They do. When you said it, I was like, okay, that's actually pretty good. That matches up.
A young Whitman Mayo kind of looks like an old, decrepit Marvin Gaye. Now that I'm looking at all these pictures. Yep.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Because Beef, we both love Sanford and Son.
Oh, absolutely. One of my favorite shows ever.
And I remember one time we were hanging out, and I got into the cutting the cord on cable a long time ago, and got into like using the Roku and having all these different apps and all that. And there was a free app that I was like, oh, they got all kinds of movies and shit on here. Let's check this out. And I was like, Beef, there's a Grady show. There's a spinoff of Sanford and Son. Let's watch it. This shit has to be awesome. It was one of the worst fucking shows
not awesome.
I've ever seen.
We made like 2.5 episodes. We watched more than one episode.
There's only like 6 episodes that exist, and we couldn't come close to finishing that season. All right.
Want me to go next?
Who's up next? Yeah, my sex summer.
Or do you want to? Last call. All right. I don't always think about these all that much, so this is what I just thought of recently. Maybe 5 minutes ago. What holiday tradition do you find dumb and want to see just go away and not have to deal with it again? For me, there's a lot of things that I don't like. Parades, I think they're fucking stupid. All right, I don't care to see a parade. There's people selling shit on this parade that I don't care about. I don't care what the Taco John's float looks like. I don't care that they're announcing the new Gordita Taco. I don't give two shits. Okay, I don't like that. But the number one thing, and this has become a problem in my family this year, I'm done with my parents giving me fucking Christmas gifts. Okay, let's just not pretend that we're just giving each other money, and let's just buy shit that we want every day, every year. Like we don't need to pretend like, hey, like we get into this discussion and it becomes an issue because my wife and I think of this the same way. When I need something, I fucking buy it. Like I'm not like, oh, Christmas is coming up. So I'm not going to get that thing I need right fucking now. I'm just going to buy it. So
like the bobblehead you got today.
Right, like several. Yes,
You need that.
I did need that. But no, but that's just it just drives me nuts because every year it's like I don't have any ideas for you and Devin, and I'm like, okay, don't buy us anything. Why don't we go on a trip? Why don't we go see each other when it's safe to do so? Why don't we go do something? Like let's just have an experience. You can continue to buy the kids gifts. That's fine. They fucking love them. Give them all the gifts. But you don't need to give me, as a grown adult, a fucking gift and make me have to sit here and think about shit that I should have bought and now I haven't bought. Like, and then I'll just buy something. I'm fucking sick of it. So that's my number one thing. Adult gifts. Fuck it. I don't like it.
I like that. I'm with you on that. But I got something for you guys.
Okay.
You know what I could do without ever again? Is the Detroit fucking Lions playing on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is such a tremendous holiday. I love Thanksgiving. It's so awesome. And one of the other awesome things about Thanksgiving is that there's football on in the middle of the day on a Thursday, and we can all watch it. And we're cooking and we're doing all this shit, and we're having some drinks together, and there's a football game on. Why is it the Lions? The Lions have never been good. And even when Barry Sanders was on the team, that still should be a fucking red zone Sunday moment where we go, hey, Barry Sanders just had this great run. It's the only 4 seconds of this game you should care about. that needs to be pushed in the corner where I don't have to see it anymore, and give me two actual good contending teams to play on Thanksgiving. I would love that. A real game that I care about on Thanksgiving. And then also, in that game, you know what I don't need? I don't need a 50-minute halftime show. This isn't the fucking Super Bowl.
You don't want to watch Creed?
Play the goddamn game.
People?
Treasy, you bring up the Lions there. They showed a graphic during the game this year, and the Lions have one playoff win since like 1958. And they showed the team. It was like the 91 or 92 Lions, and it was like they beat the shit out of the Cowboys, like 38-3 at the Silverdome. That's their one fucking playoff win in all them years. And we complain about the Bears. Oh man, the Bears have only been to the Super Bowl twice. All this stuff. Lions one fucking playoff.
They had 5 touchdowns in that game. Barry Sanders scored 7 of them.
Barry Sanders was awesome, though.
He was.
He
He
was
was.
fun to watch.
Yeah.
And Wayne Fontes was a handsome man. But that doesn't mean that we should give a shit about them on Thanksgiving.
Loafer.
I've got a tradition that is so obvious that it sucks balls. And the fact that we kind of got rid of it this year, kind of didn't have to do it, was really good. And I wish the trend would carry on and we could pick up some other tradition for this holiday. But Halloween, trick-or-treating, fucking sucks in both directions.
Whoa.
It sucks. The weather blows. Your kids don't want to be out in that fucking weather in their costumes for 2 hours trying to get candy. In every home, it's a huge pain in the ass to have to keep coming to the door every time the doorbell rings, give candy. I'm glad this year, the only upside of the pandemic was the goddamn trick-or-treating was basically shut off. We had one trick-or-treater all fucking night. It was beautiful. Bonita Stinky's old enough where she doesn't really want to go trick-or-treating anymore.
Right.
She's already 10, and she's like, we've gone before, but like had this year, we probably wouldn't have even gone. We probably would have just go to my parents', get some candy there, come home, order a pizza or something like that. We probably wouldn't even do it. But for those of you with younger kids, trick-or-treating sucks ass, and I hope you never have to do it.
Beef, let me ask you a question. Let me throw something at you.
Go for it.
Let me ask you if you'd be down with this. What if we did a little switcheroo in our holidays?
Okay.
And we throw Easter at the end of October.
Okay.
And like right at the beginning of spring, we put Halloween.
Celebrate.
You feeling Halloween a little bit more as we come into spring?
I like Halloween parties.
Yeah.
I like the decor. I like dressing up. But trick-or-treating fucking sucks. Yeah, I would say I like all the rest of it. It's just the trick-or-treating part really sucks. It's not good. It's bad from every direction. I don't know that there's anyone that really likes trick-or-treating at all.
Kids like it.
Kids do.
I'm not sure. They like the score. They like the candy part. I don't think they like going up to every random creep's door to get, sometimes you get a handful of pennies. That's total fucking bullshit. Like sometimes you don't even get a real prize, and you don't really kind of got to drive to where the rich neighborhood is, so they get a full candy bar. Like we go to only certain places where you ain't going to every single house trick or treating. You don't know where the sex offenders are at. You're going to go to the good neighborhoods. You can get the full fucking candy bar. That's where everyone goes. Like,
I feel like the sex offenders are passing out the full candy bars, to be quite honest. Like, I just got a hint, like, hey, I want this kid to like me for later. So I'm going to give him a good full candy bar.
Beef, a wise man once told everybody that struggle is good and it makes people tougher. Oh, wait, that was Adam Eaton. Fuck that guy.
Absolutely.
All right, Beef, lay it on us. What's your last call?
Ooh, last call. So I had a work holiday party over Zoom on Wednesday.
Ooh.
We had it with offices across the country and within our company. We did a little wine tasting. Without naming names, our firm owns a couple of wineries. And so one of the wineries sent around some wine. We had on the Zoom a couple of the folks, winemakers, talk about the wine, just to discuss. It was pretty cool. We had a program or whatever. It was only an hour. So they shipped us like wine and cheese. You got your own setup. Everyone's on the Zoom. You dressed it.
Oh, you showed a picture of that. Yeah.
It was cool. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So anyway,
I was like, look at old fancy loafs over here with his cheese.
Fancy loaf.
Fancy loaf.
I love the fancy loaf. So anyway, after the party, Mrs. Beef and I were ingesting the remainder of the wine, 108ing, if you will. And I said to her, can you imagine how nuts it's going to be in the White Sox scene when we can go back into the ballpark, back in public, full bore, games at full capacity? We don't know when that's going to be. But can you imagine what it's going to be like when it's wide fucking open? Mm-hmm. Can you envision the type of stuff that's going to occur? A couple of things that came to my head before I get some input from you guys, how you think it's going to look. I could see on Friday nights us having a standing bus to take 50 of us to the Horseshoe and go party at the casino and hang out all night. I could see some night games, us hopping on the Buffalo Wings and Rings bus, going back over there and going past 2 o'clock and having Justin close the doors, but let us stay in there and keep drinking. Like, I could see Sox thing turning into like party town, and all of us and all the people that have been in, all the Lot B people and all the different, folks that we know are season ticket holders and bloggers and shit. I just see this extended party. What do you guys envision when we can actually all be out there together? We've been starving for this.
Now, Teresi, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
So I was thinking about this not too long ago, because Beef, you make a good point of like, we'll go all night, we'll do all this, right? We are so out of practice. We are in such bad drinking condition. I'm guessing, and you guys can let me know, but like when you're out there drinking now, you're having some beers or some wine or whatever you're having at night, because you haven't been doing it. The next morning, there's a little more grogginess than there was before. There's a little more hangover than there was before.
Yep.
I'm gonna guess. Let's call it opening day and opening. Let's just be super optimistic. And opening day, we've all got the shot in the arm and we're all feeling good. There's no way that's gonna happen, but let's just assume it did.
Yeah.
Let's say we have 100 people partying with the 108. Do 50 of them ever make it into the ballpark?
No, absolutely not.
Nope.
I think the initial, like, once things open up, the initial rush is gonna be a disaster. Like, people are not used to being out. They're not used to wearing pants. They're not used to doing anything that you would normally do in public. And it is going to be awful. People are going to throw up on themselves. People are going to be crying.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be all kinds of bad. But I will tell you this. Once we regain our sea legs, I think at least for a few years, there's going to be a little bit of reckless abandon that wasn't there before. There's an appreciation of there's going to be like an appreciation of what we missed, and really people are going to go really hard after that, because I think one of the things that I always talk to people about like being from Chicago, and they're like, why wouldn't you want to live in a place like San Diego where it's nice all the time? And it's like, you don't truly appreciate the summer until you've had a ball freezing winter.
That's true. That's
right?
Very true.
And we have had a true ball freezing winter for over a year now. We have not been out, man. We have not gotten together. We have not seen each other. We have not hung out. We have not talked shit in person.
Mm-hmm.
And when we first get out, it's going to be a fucking mess, and we're gonna throw up on ourselves, and people are going to cry, and people are going to fall in the street. But after that initial melee, I think people are going to have an appreciation for each other and for human interaction that they've never had in their life. And I think it's going to be awesome. And I think it's going to be expensive, but we're going to be all there for it. And I'm 100% in. I can't fucking wait for it.
Chorizo, as a guy that has lived on the West Coast, you can spot the Midwesterners that live and that have moved out there by the smile on their faces, especially in February when it goes from earlobe to earlobe because it's only 72 degrees, and you're like, this is fucking wicked awesome. So, to go on, I my thought process was very similar to yourself, Chorizo, and there is a movie that represents what our life will be like coming out of quarantine, and that movie is the 1979 Penthouse produced Caligula. Okay. There is going to be death. There is going to be destruction. There is going to be people dicking people down on inside and the aisles, in the walkways, in the bathrooms, in the upper deck, in the lower deck, in the craft cave. There will be sex fucking everywhere. There will be so many bodies and babies and it's everything. Death, destruction, and doing the dirty. Okay, that's a lot of D's. So that's what's going to be going down. And you know who's going to be the happiest person of all? Wally. Because he's going to be all right up in that mix, and he is going to be like Caligula and saying, come on, people, let's do this. Eating grapes that people will be feeding him while, we just sit around and drink wine or beer, mostly Goose Island, from the mouth of the goose that we have just decapitated in right field, because it is just going to be wonderful. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be fucking nuts. And yeah, the sea legs will come. And usually we got that too, but it's going to be like a Friday night every fucking night until we get those legs back. We're going to be like, let's go hard, because we forget that we have a Saturday and a Sunday and potentially a couple day games the next week. So yes, that like my thought process directly to Caligula. That's how it's going to be. And if you've never seen that movie, it's the horrible movie. But it's like the first mainstream movie that features like straight ass pornography in it. And it's not great, but it's interesting. It's definitely interesting to see.
Is Malcolm McDowell Caligula? Yeah, okay.
Yes. And Gore Vidal wrote it. So, I mean, it is just, and Bob Guccione produced it. Penthouse produced it. It is just a fucking mess. And the story behind the whole thing is just even more of a mess. And I remember reading about it in all of these old Penthouse magazines that I found in my grandparents' attic. And I was like, I need to see this fucking movie. And when I finally watched it, I was so disappointed. So, listen, it's not something that you need to rush out to see. But I noticed on IMDb its popularity is gaining. It has gone up 96 points somewhat recently. So people are really fucking bored in quarantine. So there you have it.
Maybe next time we get to hear about Grandma and Grandpa's penthouse collection. I'm
Oh
very
my
interested
God.
in that.
It was insanity.
I can't wait for that and a this or that.
Yes.
Grandpa's penthouse collection against Grandma's club collection.
That's
Guys,
it, baby.
it has been a blast. And I got to admit, I'm a little hammerino. But
hello.
Nice.
I appreciate you guys spending your Friday night with me. It was a lot of fun. It almost reminded me of being at the park, other than the fact that I cannot smell you guys. I hope everyone enjoyed this. We will talk to you guys very soon. Thanks a lot.
Peace.
Later.